Well, it's time to get your legal questions answered, and as always, Attorney Jason Nix is here to share his expertise. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for sharing your expertise.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, we have some good questions. One actually really did catch my eye, and that is, what are the repercussions of someone falsely claiming a child as a dependent on their tax return?
Well, you could end up with federal income tax evasion type charges, or there's different types of federal cases that could possibly come up out of that. We have that kind of happen quite a bit in divorce cases, where one side is supposed to be able to list the child as a dependent, and then a year later we find out the other side is doing it. And what we'll do is we'll get a certified copy of the judgment, and then we'll write a letter to the IRS explaining that the other side's not to do that, and they already know that, and here's our certified copy signed by the judge, and that usually takes care of that problem from ever happening again.
Yeah, I have a friend who actually adopted his niece, and after he adopted his niece, someone else filed the kids as dependents, but it seemed like he had to go through a lot of loopholes, or not loopholes, I guess I should say, but he had to go through a lot of the system to actually prove that he was the correct parent that should be doing this.
Yeah, and a lot of it will depend kind of on your situation, but the best thing and the easiest thing you can do is get your certified copy that's been signed by the judge, filed, stamped by the clerk's office, and send that to the IRS with a letter from your attorney stating exactly, this is the process that we went through. These are his children now. He's legally adopted them. They are his dependents. They live under his roof. And so as opposed to, if you think it's going to happen, go ahead and send it off beforehand and let them know that information.
Now, as far as the person that claimed them falsely, what happens to them?
Well, I think in the couple of situations where I've had that happen to my clients, I'm not sure that charges were ever filed against. I think that a lot of them claimed, oh, I didn't know. And so basically what they did is they made them refund that money that they were sent to them improperly, and I think is once they did that within a certain period of time, they didn't file charges. But I think if that were to happen quite a bit or more often, especially after the letter and the certified judgment have been sent, they could possibly be looking at some tax charges from the government. So.
All right. Next question is, the children's dad has not seen them in 5 years, and there's no child support paid, no involvement, etc. How can my new husband adopt them?
Well, the first step is they would need to file a termination of those parental rights of that particular parent. There's probably 15 to 20 ways that you can terminate parental rights, and one of them is basically abandoning the child and not paying any child support and not telling of any intent to return, and they would qualify for a termination, and you can file a termination, and in that termination paperwork you can put that you have someone that's wanting to adopt. Judges are very hesitant to terminate parental rights because it's final. It's not like you can terminate it and then, hey, they start being a dad again in another year and you can go back and get your parental rights back. It's supposed to be final. So judges are very hesitant to do that, and there needs to be some pretty good evidence for them to do so, but it helps them if they know that there's someone waiting in the wings to adopt.
Now, as far as if you do give your parental rights, is there any way that that person would still have to pay child support?
No, once you terminate your parental rights, you would not have to pay any child support from that point forward. However, if you owed previous child support, you would still owe that back child support from before the termination of your parental rights.
Okay. And I was pulled over and offered to blow on a portable breath test at the traffic stop. Is this test accurate?
Not at all. The portable breath test is basically a very small little gadget. It's never calibrated. It's left in cars where it gets hot and cold in the winter. About the only thing they can ever use that in a court of law for is that based on their other viewings, in terms of their other evidence that they collected, they believe based on that person might be intoxicated, but they're not going to be able to enter a specific number from the portable breath test because the courts have found that they're not deemed scientifically accurate enough. Basically, the only thing it's going to truly confirm is that person's been having some alcohol, and you can tell that just from visiting with them and smelling them.
Absolutely.
So it's not going to be accurate in terms of if it shows up as .07, that doesn't mean that you're automatically good to drive, and just because it comes out .09 doesn't mean you're automatically not, you're automatically above the legal limit. It's not going to be accurate.
All right. Well, as always, thank you so much, Attorney Nix. And of course, if you want to get your legal question answered, all you have to do is go to our Facebook page and write your question in.